Well, hi, everybody. I'm Jen Degenhardt, and I am here to talk to you about the personal and comparative essay writing with novice learners. And I'm coming to you live right now from Antigua, Guatemala on the terrace of a house where I'm staying. And I just want to give you a little video tour because I don't know about you guys, but I like to waste class time as much as I can. Did I just say that out loud? Oh, I did. And thankfully nobody's listening. Well, you guys are. And now would be a good time to go get some drinks, get a snack, get a little vino, because that's what I would like to do right now. But I'm out here in the sun, and I wanted to, over here, which you can't see, are Volcan Acatanengo and Volcan Fuego. And in the morning, if we had this in the morning, but then again, you wouldn't be able to drink wine in the morning, you'd be able to see Fuego puffing away. And, but I can show you, maybe you can see Volcan Agua right there in the distance. So it's really pretty here. So I say that I'm stuck, but by no means am I suffering. And I'm starting to do a lot more writing, but I'm gonna sit down now because that was all there is to see, because it is a little misty this afternoon. And if I break out into a sweat, it's either one of two things. Well, one of three things. It's the weather. It can be the fact that I'm totally freaked out about the technology, or maybe I'm having a hot flash. So that's great. So how are you all? I was told by a friend to go slowly, so I'm going to try to go slowly for you. And I, first of all, want to wish everyone well. I hope you're well, and that things are going okay with this online teaching, learning, acquiring, whatever is supposed to be going on, because it's a bit of a show for me down here with my college students. And so I do recognize the limitations, and it's no fun. It's no fun for anybody. But stay well, stay safe, stay at home, and I'm sorry that I didn't get myself all dolled up for this either, like the last one. I looked better in the last one, but I did a terrible job. But in this one, I don't look as good, but maybe I'm going to do a better job. So, there's that. What happened here is I was supposed to do this from my basement with the help of my pets, but I got stuck here in Guatemala. They closed the border 2 days after I arrived, so here I am. And again, not suffering. So let's get to it, as Chris Cuomo says every night. I wanted to talk to you about essay writing in another language, because I happen to like it, and I try to make it as easy for me as possible. And so if it's easy for me, it's got to be easy for the students, and vice versa. So first thing, oh, and excuse me, but I didn't type out my notes. I did type out my notes, but I didn't print them. So they're on my phone, and I'm old now, so I might have to check back and forth. Technologically, I am adult, and I say that with as much affection for my own self as I can. So here we go. What do we know about novice level learners? Okay, well, they don't know so much yet. So we have to tailor the writing assignments for that. I think that some teachers, at least I've seen in the past, think that just because students are a certain age level, they should be able to write in a certain way. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of them are they don't have those skills even in English, or they're in their first language. So making them have those skills in a second language makes it even that much more impossible for them. So I say to everybody, just slow your roll. Just take it one very small step at a time, and tailor your expectations to what they can actually produce. And I have said, and I don't remember to whom I've said this, but I've said to folks, listen, think about the objective. Why are you having them write? Never mind the ACFEL pyramid or a rubric or any of those things, because I don't know anything about them, and I say that with all the love towards our profession as I can. What do you want the kid to do? And if you have that objective in mind, then I think it's going to be easier for you to get from the students what you want. So, and also I wanted to add, I will try to answer questions as they come in, but I'm not really good at this, so we'll just bear with me. I will answer all of them at the end if I don't get to them as we're going through. Okay, so I know you can see my screen because Erin and I practiced that before. And the first thing, I have some experience and some success with this writing thing, because I had, before I stopped teaching high school and started teaching college, I was teaching a lot of special education students. And my thought was, well, if I can make it simple enough and doable enough for those students, then it should be good for everybody else. And I would recommend that to all of you, is that, you know, tailor your activities for the least able, at least in language terms, and I mean that again with all the love, for the person with the most challenges, because, you know, if the other kids are better, then they'll blow right through it, which is great. But that one kid who needs everything spelled out for him or her, that's those are the kids that you need to write the lesson for, or the activity for. Okay, yeah, it's only the introductory slide, so don't worry about it. We didn't get any further. Okay, because I'm trying to go slow, and to give you time to sip your wine. I want to sip my wine so badly right now. Okay, so here we go. So the first, oh, here we go. So, oh no, don't go fast. And I didn't put it on any timer because that would require way too many skills. So what I did with my special education students was I would give them an activity that was writing, but not writing. Okay, and I think I've skipped like 4 things from my notes already. So I guide them through, and they don't know that they're writing. Okay, so first of all, I gave them a paragraph to read about me. And what you have on your screen is not really about me, because my mother's name is Susan, and my dad's name is not Bob, and in fact, my mom's not alive anymore. So the whole thing is a big fat lie. And I encourage you to lie too if you're going to put a paragraph about yourself on there. Okay. So I would have them read the paragraph about me, which is this part right here. Okay. And then I ask, it's also good for, you know, reading comprehension, right? So I ask the questions, ¿Cómo te llamas? Okay, so now we'll have the students follow the model. Listen, they can't do it in the beginning. They don't have any idea. They have these ideas of, oh, I'm going to just grab this from the sky and throw it in there, or some of my special education students would just put one word down and think that was plenty. You really have to tell them exactly what to do. And it's okay in the beginning, because they do get better. I promise you, they do get better. So so here are the questions for them to answer. ¿Cómo te llamas? Okay, what is your name? So you go back, and I say, go back up to the paragraph, follow the model. It's sentence by sentence. You can't lose here. Okay, and sometimes, well, I used to be able to say this before saying anything in jest became not appropriate. I used to say, listen, it's idiot proof. Okay, it's idiot proof. ¿Cómo te llamas? Okay, me llamo. And then they would write down, and they do this, me llamo profe. And I say, oh, is your name profe too? And they said, no, my name is Kevin. And I said, well, then put Kevin. Put Kevin. I said, oh, okay. And then cuántos, and go through the whole thing. ¿Cuántos años tienes? How old are you? Okay. Yo tengo 46 años. Yeah, you can tell I wrote that paragraph a little while ago, because it's been a few years since I saw 46. And, you know, where you're from, that part's true. If you want to actually put an APB out on me, I am, or, you know, look at the Bureau of Criminal Investigation, I am from Clinton, Connecticut. Okay, so the rest of the stuff is not true. And so then they have a series of answers, and hopefully that they have checked and double checked. Okay, they have double checked their answers, and for spelling as well, because it's all right here. Okay, and so, okay, Karen, I can provide prompts in French or English. Oh, French. En français? Oh, wait. Okay, ready? Right, here we go, Karen. This is going to be the hilarity of the whole thing. I told you it was going to be amusing. Okay. Je m'appelle Profe. Okay. J'ai, oh, and the numbers in French. Oh, this is horrible. J'ai 46 ans. Okay. And so here it is. Comment t'appelles-tu? Okay. Je m'appelle. And then so you go down here and they would write je m'appelle. Okay. Karen, I hope you're getting this, and I hope you're having a lot of wine. Okay. Quel âge as-tu? Oh, this is pretty good. This is high school French coming at you guys hot. Okay. J'ai 46 ans. Okay. I'm sorry. Please don't tell anybody in Quebec or France or anybody the other Francophone nations. Okay, because they'll be very upset. And so then they'll have their complete sentences out here. And then you can make sure that they are practicing with simple things like capitalization, punctuation, periods at the end. I mean, I know this whole generation, they don't know anything about that stuff. And it makes me a little crazy. Probably you guys too. Okay. So, and then they'll have the list of all of their answers here. Okay. Now what I did was then I would say, okay, now I'd like you to tear the paper in half. You know, if I were good, and I would make a little perforation line, but I'm not that good. Okay. So, but you can do that and make a little perforation line so they tear their paper. And then I say to them, okay, now you need to write a paragraph. And they freak out. Oh my God, I don't know how to write a paragraph. You know, don't worry about it, kid. Don't worry about it. Just copy what's on your paper. Okay. Copy what's on the paper. Well, I don't know how it goes. I said, I've ordered it for you. Okay. Oh, thank you. My French is just fine. Okay. So then you have a paragraph. Now is it not a great paragraph? No, I mean, they're not writing, you know, a Cid or, you know, anything, Don Quixote or anything like that, but then they feel accomplished for having written something. And I'm probably a little bit old school here because I am old, but having the chance to copy their answers not only once, but again on the paper will help reinforce. Now, I've always said that to students. I have absolutely no idea if that's scientifically true. And clearly I don't care about scientific anything or technological anything. So, but it's a good thing to say, right? Okay, so then you have a paragraph. Okay, and then you have a paragraph about your family. And it's not terribly exciting, let's be honest, but it gets them to realize that they can write something. And this is just, you know, the questions are fairly basic. And for Karen and others, you know, where are you from? How many people are in your family? What's your mom's name? How old is she? Where is she from? I mean, these are all the very basic questions that have typically been posed at the beginning of a novice level course. And it's just reinforcing those same things over and over and over again. Okay. I'm gonna check my notes. Hold on a second. Let's see. Okay. Offering it. If there's any other questions, just keep typing them here. Okay. So, oh, I've already gone down a little bit further. So let me, go to the next slide. Okay. Oh, just a little bit bigger. You know why I made it bigger? Because I needed to see it bigger. But I know the, so for those of you who need a little bit, a larger picture, here it is. Okay. And if you want, I have this, of course, already done, and I am all about not making any more work. So if you would like this document, I can absolutely send it to you. Just email me, which I will put at the end because I really can't do two things at one time. And I will be happy to send it to you so you can, so you can, whoopsie, here we go. So you can just not reinvent the wheel. Okay. Evidently Susan they don't like the way Susan was spelled. Crying shame. Okay. And then, so this is down at the bottom here. So these are all I made these up, okay, for then you can have them do the paragraph again on another day, you know, without any help, to see what they remember. And give them what they should include, or even brainstorm with them. Okay, well, what have we talked about already? What do you know how to say? Oh, we can say our name. We can say our mom's name. We can say our dad's name. Okay, great. We can say where we're from. We can say how old we are. I mean, and have them generate those things because they can come up with those things, right? And then you can give them a guide on the, you know, on the whiteboard or your smart board. Thank God I don't have to use those. And they can, you know, fill out those things. Maybe they're not going to be in order. Okay, maybe they've come up with these things, you know, like my name, my dad's name, and my brother's name, and then, you know, and then where my mom is from and how old my mom is, and then something else. And I would suggest that then as a class you reorder the sentences. Okay, well, what makes sense to go first? They really do need all of that support. And even if it's if you have, you know, the whiz bang kids, you know, thank God for you that you do, but not everybody does. And there's always one kid who's like, what are we doing now? And so it's good to go really slow. And you know, these are transferable skills to other courses as well. Organization is, I don't have my own children. I mean, that is my gift to the world, but I do know, you know, I'm here in Guatemala, you know, helping take care of 3 teenagers, or, you know, 1 soon to be teenagers, and organization is just not their strong suit. They just don't get it. So so help them out. Okay. And at the end, I put es mi familia. So, and for those students who, you know, who need that extra help, this is your summary sentence. Okay. And again, I don't know if this will work for you. This worked for my students, for my special education students. I tailor whatever I'm doing to the students who are in front of me. And I knew that they had no idea what a conclusion was. So we came up with the conclusion together. Yeah, conclusion. I get it. We are not restating the topic sentence. There is no topic sentence necessarily, but it's just to reinforce that there should be something. Like, don't leave it hanging like, you know, my brother's 10 years old, okay, or whatever. Pedro or Pablo or whatever his name. Oh, Peter. Okay. Yeah. See, I didn't even know. I couldn't see. Yes. Do I do this at the beginning of the year? As soon as they have the information that they can generate all of this information, either on their own or with this particular worksheet, which of course I can't find here. With this one, then I just start. I start with them right away. I have found that students will rise to the occasion if you give them the opportunity, and this is already spelled out for them, just to do. Here, follow these instructions, nobody gets hurt. Okay. And you probably can't say that anymore either. It's no fun. So and then you can have them do this on their own, and then each time maybe you add some more details. And whatever details you're adding in, maybe you add in, you know, oh, what you like, or what your mom likes, you know, whatever you tailor it to what's going on in your curriculum. I wouldn't ask them to discuss astrophysics. I wouldn't give them, you know, tell me about yourself. They need more than that. They absolutely need more than that. What do you mean about myself? I want to tell you that I like skateboarding, and I listen, you know, I watch YouTube videos, and if they don't have those structures, you know, in their back pocket to pull out and write about, you're going to get something that's Google translated, and that's not what you want. So you really need to, I mean, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but you really need to scaffold this for them. I hate educationese. So, and really just give them everything, and have them repeat and repeat and repeat. And then, you know, they'll let you know when it's boring. they'll tell you, oh yeah, we're done with this. Like, okay, well, let's move on. I mean, and I had said this in another presentation once. I said, if it isn't working out, okay, stop. Just stop. Okay, say, all right, it's not working out. I mean, it's a great lesson because people think we need to continue with what we're doing just because we started it. And I mean, I was teaching, I don't know, some book, I think one book I wrote, and it was not going over. It was going over like a lead balloon. And I said, oh yeah, we can't do this anymore. And so I just stopped. So just stop. If it's not working, do something else and go back to it, or don't go back to it. Golondrinas and maybe ducks. I live near an expressway. Well, everything's shut down here in Antigua, Guatemala. And so there are just birds, there are kids playing in the pool. So that's what you hear. And maybe we'll hear some dogs barking, but it is really lovely, and the weather is great. Okay, so this is really step by step. See, I made it even idiot proof for you because I wanted to show the process that I go through. I don't do this anymore with my college students, but I do go through the pre-writing activity and say, okay, well, what do you know how to say? And, you know, when they come in, they're at different levels. I'm going to guess that with novice level students that you have, that they're pretty much at the same level. So, so you can, you know, work with what you have. Also, I do this for all of my students. I always have the students whom I think are either reluctant to participate or are less able to participate, you know, that don't have as strong language skills. I call on them first, so, you know, that the goody two shoes are over there with, you know, every single answer, and then there's nothing left to say. So I always just have those students participate first, and it seems to work out for me. I mean, sometimes you got the, you know, okay, I dated myself here with the Arnold Horshack thing, reference, but give those kids an opportunity to participate, because they will. And I've got a couple great stories about this, two students I had. But the first one was, and never, and if they can't participate or they won't, just leave them be, because they will when they're ready. I had a student, Sean, who was very challenged with speech language issues, and, you know, he didn't say much in class, and, you know, so never underestimate that input either, which I know this is not my topic, but you know, it was maybe 6 weeks into school, and I just kept asking questions, and finally I just asked him a simple question like, you know, what's the name of the boy in the book? And he says, oh, you know, say I'm a Cooper. And, you know, and the whole class, we were like, what? Really? You know, so, I mean, it does happen. I know, you know, that happens, and I don't need to be telling you anything, but it was a cool experience for me at the time, especially given that Sean was so challenged with language, English. Okay. Okay. So, and please make the activities, make them, I keep saying idiot proof, and I mean idiot proof, but I mean it with all the love. Okay, make them for your dog. Okay, if your dog can do it and read Spanish or French or Mandarin, then your students can do it too. And many steps are better than fewer. Students I found don't like the open-ended, at least at the novice level, don't like the open-ended prompt, because they don't know what to say, they don't know where to start. And you need to help them start, especially in the beginning, you know, just like I did before. I'm not even going with my notes, I'm just going, okay, hang on. Hold tight, listen to the golondrinas. Okay, so another way to teach writing is through a little plagiarism. Oh, did I say that? Yes, I did. And I mean it in the best way possible, okay? Las Aventuras de Isabela is a book by Karen Rowan. And the first chapter, it's got a great description, a great personal description about Isabella Huffman. And I would challenge you just to say, okay, well, listen, now that we've read Las Aventuras de Isabela, and we've read the first, you know, paragraph, or we've read the couple paragraphs or the first chapter, go back and look to see how you can copy, emulate, mimic what's already been written, putting in your own information. And then that way they have to have some comprehension about what the vocabulary means, you know, what's the paragraph trying to say, who are they talking about, those sorts of things. And yeah, it's it's cheating, and I'm sure it's probably some sort of copyright violation somewhere, but nobody's getting, we're just helping kids learn how to write. Okay, nobody's making bank off of um, the, you know, the personal essay that your students are writing. Okay, so so for those of you who don't read Spanish, my name is Isabella Huffman. I'm 8.5 years old. I have blonde hair, and blue eyes. Yeah, I speak Spanish. My mom's name is Elizabeth Huffman. She's 29 years old. She is tall, she has brown hair, and brown eyes. My mom travels a lot for her job. So this gets into, you know, professions and things like that. And so after you read, perhaps then you ask the kids, okay, well, what is it talking about? Okay, what information did you get from this? Okay, we know the name of the girl. Okay, we know the name of her mom, how old her mom is, what her mom looks like. Oh, we know what the girl looks like too. Okay, so, and then you just build on that, you know. But having for some students, having the that security blanket, you know, so to speak, of that, you know, the writing that's already done for them, then they can venture off into something on their own. Okay. There are other books that I wanted to bring up too. I have to look at my notes for these because I didn't memorize them, that are written in the first person. Most of my books are written in the first person for this reason, because the first book I wrote, La Chica Nueva, is in the first person because I needed the students to be able to just look in the book and really copy what was there when they were talking about themselves, and to get used to that. And then we ventured off into the third person. And let me see what the next slide is. Let me tell you some other books that, okay, well, La Chica Nueva is one of them. Hold on, I gotta make my phone notes a little bit bigger because you know, I'm a little old. Okay, so there's another one, and I have not read these books, so you'd have to check them out for yourself. But I wanted to, you know, I don't want you to think that I was selling myself, because I'm not selling myself. I'm only talking about what I know, and I was going to look these up and get them delivered to me, but before this, but then I got stuck here, and okay, well, you know, life happens, and you know, we have a little coronavirus. El Equeco by Katie Baker, you know, Las Aventuras de Isabela by Karen Rowan. Esperanza is another one by Carol Gabb. My book La Chica Nueva, and another one of my books, which is called La Vida es Complicada, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But if you see, this is the first chapter of La Chica Nueva, and let me see if I can do this in French for those of you. Je m'appelle Cooper et j'ai 17 ans. Je suis I don't know, pick one of those because I never got that right ever. Douglaston, Connecticut. Je suis, yeah, okay, tall. Mais je ne suis pas très tall. Okay, then that's it. Okay, that's all you get. Okay, hilarity ensues. And so then the students just copyright from this, and you move on. Chapter one of this book is with masculine pronouns, and chapter 2 of the book has feminine pronouns. I don't have a slide for chapter 2, but trust me, I know because I wrote the book. So you can have them copy right out of the book, and start that when you have them building some confidence, and then put them up, you know, like do that elementary school style, middle school style, put them up, and then you can do one of those, what is that, gallery walk or something. I am so not into all of the stuff. I just don't know these things, but I don't know what they're called, but I know to do them, you know, put them up on the wall, and then you can have people, have the students read about each other. And I mean, that's kind of fun. That's what I'm all about. That's why I'm a little sad about this whole lockdown thing. I can't go out and talk to the people in Antigua, Guatemala. So my Spanish skills are kind of sucking out right now, but you know, I'm writing a lot of books. while I'm stuck in the beautiful weather. This book, La vida es complicada, is one I just published, and the reason I'm bringing up is not to sell, but I did this on purpose. Was I take you through the first 3 chapters of the writing process, because I think that it's so hard to get kids to generate ideas. And this is a level 1 book, and it talks about Samuel Medina, and it's very basic language. And the first chapter, he's tasked with, he has a homework assignment. He's got to write a paragraph, but all he does is he takes out his phone and he jots down some bullet points that he thinks about. Okay, and which I encourage to with some students is because even my college students, they freak out when they have to put a paragraph together. And I said, well, don't write in a paragraph, just write single sentences. You can always rearrange them later. You can always organize them later and make it a nicer, okay? Because, you know, if you can't, some students are not able to let it flow. Just get it down on paper. I mean, that's true of anything, of any kind of writing. If nothing's on the paper, there's nothing written, you know, or in the screen or whatever, you know, I really am old school. Okay, so these are all the things that he comes up with. My name is Samuel Medina. I am the son of Gustavo and Liliana. I'm 15 years old. I speak Spanish and English. I'm from Venezuela. I am Afro-Venezuelan. I like music. I like salsa music. I like merengue music. I don't like calypso music. So, you know, sort of very basic stuff. And then, you know, and it goes through the story. So I don't even know what happens in the story. But there are 3 main characters. And the next main character is Samuel's dad. And Samuel's dad has to write his own little essay. Oh, no one. Oh, it's okay. Oh no, I forgot about that. You can't see my screen here, or you see all my screen. And he has to put together an essay for a new job. Yeah, I know that's not really realistic, but you know, just go with me on this, okay? So, and he does a little bit better job of organizing them. So they're not in a paragraph yet, but he does a little bit better job organizing them because he's an adult and he knows how to organize some things. Okay, he still doesn't have a conclusion, so you would have to do them together, do it together. Okay, and you know, and it becomes a little bit more complex, but not too much. And also it's carrying along with the story. It's not, you know, it's not telling the same things that Samuel would say. Okay, and then here, let me move myself over here because I think you see that, and I'm really sorry about that as well. This is the grandfather is the 3rd person who's in the story, and he has to write a speech. And so he actually puts together, you know, 2 paragraphs worth, and maybe it's a little longer, I have no idea, but this is the screenshot that I took. You know, my name is Leonardo Medina Guzman. I'm 63 years old. I speak Spanish and English, and it's basically the same stuff, you know, on purpose, because we like a lot of repetition in those novels for students to be like, oh yeah, I know what's going on, and woo-hoo, you know, I mean, you know, give me a prize, gold star. I'm Afro-Venezolano, you know, I'm Afro-Venezuelan, I'm from Venezuela, but now I live in Doral, Florida in the United States. And this is here for the non-Spanish speakers. I live with my spouse, one of my children, and my grandson, Samuel. I'm an engineer. I work for the company Venzoil. It's a petroleum company from the United States. I am an important engineer for the company. I like my job. I like to resolve problems. Okay, so then the students know, you know, by the 3rd chapter, like, oh yeah, it's the same stuff, man. We just put it in a paragraph. I mean, you know, little by little. Okay, let's see. Oh, now I gotta move this. Oh gosh, technology. I'm starting to sweat. Not that you can tell that because I wore the right color shirt for this activity. Okay. And ask me any questions. I'm gonna take a drink. Is that okay? It's just water. Okay. The other thing, if you want them to start out on their own, okay, is give them a graphic organizer. And I have found just 2 quick ones because now I'm teaching college. I think they might laugh at me if I gave them this one, but I think it's cute. And they can fill this in and then decide, okay, well, which one am I going to put first? Okay, well, I'm going to put a 1 here. So then I write that sentence first. Likes, or maybe they have many names, who knows? Things I'm good at when I grow up, or you put whatever you want in there. Okay. And I happen to like the web thing because, once I find something that I like, I just stick to that. I'm not going to go on to, finding the very perfect graphic organizer. I did a little bit of research on this, but I couldn't find one that I liked. And yes, you can also have the slides. Absolutely. I'll make them public. I know how to do that now. I'm learning as I go. And so, and you can decide together what to put in the circles. And, that way, listen, it takes more class time too, which is awesome. You don't want to rush any of this stuff because they need all the help they can get in the beginning. And if you start out really slow, I mean, you may think this is totally boring, but I promise you that they might be bored. The smarty pantses might be bored, but the rest of them, they'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I can follow along. And then they're going to be so excited that they can follow along. And that's really what we want, is they want to build that confidence. So when you say to them whenever you have to give a summative assessment, oh, I know you're very impressed by that, as am I actually, that you can just say, okay, we'll write about yourself. So, and here's another example. I got this from Senora Haston, who posted this, I think, on Twitter or something. It was about Cooper and Taruka. And it was a character autopsy, which I'll share with you. Just give her the credit because it's fantastic. So for the non-English speakers, in the head, you put your the character's head. You can do this with the first person or about a character in a book. Thoughts about the character might have, or thoughts that the individual would have. Write what the character says, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's a really a great way to create their own graphic organizer, and then you can have them write about it. I don't really know what it says about what you're supposed to be having them write these days. I know I'm really selling myself short here, but I don't look up all that research and stuff, so I leave that to the experts, and I just make it work with whoever's in front of me, with whomever. Object of preposition. Okay, so let's we'll be moving on now to the comparative essay. Okay, this is not a true comparative essay, and I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't know how to teach a true comparative essay for an English class. So if there's some language arts teachers who are listening, my apologies in advance. Okay, but for the students who are already not skilled at writing in English, and then you throw in that, oh my God, here's a brand new language, you need to give them a little help. Okay, so, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, tailor your expectations. Remember what they're doing. Remember how old they are. Remember how much input they've had, especially at the novice level, which hasn't been much. Okay, so go through that with them. It will pay off in dividends later on, I promise you. So pre-writing, get them to do this graphic organizer. That's probably the next slide. And it will show them how much they already know. Okay, and my favorite is the Venn diagram. I mean, just because it's easy and there's a lot of space. Okay, and and you want to talk with them again about what are you going to put first? How you got to start this out? How about an introduction? Okay, I usually do the introduction and the conclusion with high school and middle school kids together. So yes, when you're reading and evaluating them, everybody's going to have the same introductory sentence, and it gets a little boring, but if they copied it right off the board or the smartboard or anything, then you don't have to look at it every single time because you know it's the same one, okay? Or you can create, I'm down here, create a bulleted list of options. Okay, here, what are some things we can say in an introduction? Is that really an introductory sentence? Is that, if you're talking about these two characters, for example, does that really describe, does that tell the reader what this comparative essay is going to be about? Okay, so, you know, get them to start thinking about that. And that will also help the other disciplines too, because I know that in language arts and in English and history, and they teach all of these things, but sometimes it doesn't translate over, you know, to transfer is what the word I wanted, sorry. And so you just want to, you know, help each other out, right? Like, even if you were going to do a bibliography or something, okay. Yeah, what is it we're saying about screenshots? Yeah, go ahead. Well, listen, yes, take the screenshots, okay? And I'll share the presentation as well. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not rocket science, thank God. And we're not curing cancer here, again, thank God. So, so the Venn diagram, everybody knows what a Venn diagram is. Okay, so I use this to you know, to compare two characters. Okay, this is and you might want to just start out where it's a comparative essay where it's just a paragraph on two people. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to be said about two characters, right? And then if you want to compare, you know, the middle part of the Venn diagram is what they have in common. And this is, you know, obviously what the differences are. I mean, it doesn't have to be any harder than that. I mean, it's not going to be, because they're just starting out with the language. So, and I can't stress this enough, tailor your expectations to what they can do. If they're getting the sentences out and, you know, there's capital letters in the beginning and periods at the end, and it's relatively organized, put it in the W column and move on. Okay, because we, again, not curing cancer here. We're just trying to get them to write a little bit. Later on, you can hone the skills, but that would be somebody else's presentation because that's not mine. Okay. Okay. And I just wanted to reiterate once again, let it go about the expectations. I have tutored some kids in the last couple of years who attend some private schools where these teachers are having them, you know, read something, first of all, that they can't even understand. And they couldn't talk about the topic even if they did understand what was going on, because they're 14, 15 years old. So make sure that you're giving them a task that they can do. And when they can do, they will then build upon those skills and rise above to the next level and take those chances. Isn't that what we want them to do? I mean, I'm teaching adults now, you know, remotely. You know, I'm winning because I'm in Guatemala, some Spanish, and, you know, just make it work, you know, make it up, make it work. And it's been great because you need to get them to understand that it's okay, you're going to make mistakes, because if you're not making mistakes, you're not doing it right. Okay, I mean, and that's true of teaching too, by the way. And I want to, you know, give a shout out to all of you who are having to do this remote teaching, which I'm sorry, but I think it blows. I love seeing my students, I do, and I'm surprised that I haven't actually sweat 5 pounds while I'm doing this, because I need people, I need to be with the people, and so then this isn't really working out for me so well. So I know that how challenging it is, and I'm also I'm not in the habit of giving advice, and I'm certainly not in the business of giving advice, but slow it down, way down, and, you know, and give instructions like this, and don't have them do so much. You know, less is more, and I think that you will be kinder to yourself and kinder to them during this time. I think this is true of any time, and I hope that that's what happens as far as education is concerned, you know, during this coronavirus and the shutdown and the quarantine and the, you know, whatever people are calling it now, stay home thing, that we really just have to be slow it down, especially with language. I mean, I keep my students, when they come into my college classroom, you know, thinking they're supposed to be erudite. I mean, well, listen, first of all, look who's your teacher. Okay, well, they don't know who I am yet, but, and secondly, how old were you when you said your first word? And of course they don't remember. And I said, well, you know, some of you smarty pants is maybe 9 months, 10 months. Again, I don't have my own children, gift to the world. But you know, not early. And then what'd you come out with? Mama, after all that time of listening to language, that's all you got was one word. Okay, why don't you cut yourself some slack? Okay. So do you have any questions for me? I don't think I have another slide. I think I had Elsa, you know, as my grand finale. No? Okay, preach. Oh, I'm preaching. Okay, what am I preaching? What do you want me to preach about? What do you want me to talk about? Stay at home, stay safe. But really, I feel this. Okay, what point of the year would you have expected students to be able to produce the writing on the previous page? What writing on what previous page? When I'm old. But this stuff? These two things? I even with my special okay, it was a few slides ago. Okay, thanks for this? Is that what you're talking about? Elizabeth? Yeah, okay. This is pretty much if they copy it right out of the book, whenever you're doing chapter 3. Okay, just like in math, we're doing chapter 3 today. You know, they should be able to copy this on their own. Oh, I don't know, probably, you know, maybe several weeks later on their own, and they will make mistakes when they do it on their own, and that's okay, because then you can say to them, you know, just indicate where the errors are and say, hey, listen, go back, where did you make a mistake? Find it in the book. I don't have a theory behind this myself. I'm sure there is there's tons of research, I know, because there's some people that really like that stuff. I'm not one of them. I just want students to learn a little bit at a time. And if they keep writing, you know, the same error, then I will say, you know, listen, you're killing me here. Could you just get this one right? Because every time I read this wrong on your paper, I want to crumple it up. Okay. Or something like that. You know, I just make a joke. I make a joke of everything. I'm hardly ever serious. And because, you know, it's just language. I mean, really, if it were the cure for cancer, I might take it a little bit more seriously, but it's just language. And I always make it's not really a joke, but I make the comparison to, you know, listen, hey, do you guys order, you know, order food out from, you know, some ethnic restaurants? And they say yes. And I said, well, do they always speak English, you know, 100% correctly? And they say, well, no. And I said, do you get your food? I'm like, yeah. I said, well, it's a win. It's a win. Okay. That's all we care about. It's just communication. It's about people. It's about people. Okay, how many of your Spanish 1, oh, here we go, don't type too much. How many of your Spanish 1 books would you use in semester 1? Okay, well, it depends on your class, and it depends on your students. Okay, for my special education students, I use 1 book pretty much the entire year. They needed all of that support, and they needed all of that repetition, and I complemented it with other things. You know, I make sure that with my books especially, that there's some culture in there, and there's a social problem to talk about. And you know, so if we're talking about what, you know, what Cooper's likes are, what is he, you know, what sports does he like, we'll do a whole thing about, you know, sports, so nobody gets bored just reading the book. And nobody, meaning me either, because I get bored a lot. Let's see. And for my college students who are novice level, and some of them novice levels are meaning they have to start all over in college because they didn't take enough in high school, or they passed high school Spanish, but they really didn't pass because they didn't learn anything. You know what I'm saying? That's sort of, they got the social promotion. I do 2 books a semester, but again, supplement it with a whole bunch of other stuff that's a little bit beyond the simple reading. It just, the reading for me, it just gives us something to talk about, because I want to talk. I want to speak Spanish with them. They want to speak. I know I say to them, listen, if you're ever in a job where you're going to have to write in Spanish, you're going to hire somebody. I hire somebody and I write in Spanish, okay? And sometimes there's still mistakes, whatever, okay? But if you can have that conversation with another human being and make that human connection, I think that's going to be, better for you and your job, obviously dependent on what it is, because I'm all about the people. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Students in middle school with songs related to coronavirus. Yes, why not? I mean, but you need to present the activities and present the this is something it's going on now. It's part of your lives. We don't have to talk about this in a negative way. It just is. And I think that some teachers will shy away from that. I mean, I throw spaghetti to the wall and see what sticks and wait to get in trouble later. But at college, it doesn't matter. But I like to talk about those things because I think students want to talk about those things. They want to talk about the coronavirus, and they want to talk about it in a setting where they feel comfortable. And you inherently, as a language teacher, create that, or at least I hope you do, create a setting that's comfortable for them. And where they can take risks there too. So maybe we're talking about bullying, or we're talking about racism, and you can use the characters in the book as instead of real life examples. You say, well, what happened between Cooper and Taruka? And again, I'm using my own books because I don't read other people's because I'm too busy writing my own, not because I don't like other people's. Okay. Blah, blah. Let's see. Emotional themes. Thanks, Deirdre. Good to see you. Let's see. Do you think it would be a good idea if we did that already? Okay. Yes, tailor your expectations. Okay. I mean, first of all, and I don't, again, this is the third time I've said it, I don't have any children, and you're probably thinking, oh, thank God she doesn't have any children. Okay, I do. The only corruption I do is with other people's children, and I try to be pretty kind to them. But not being a parent, I can look at them objectively and say, okay, what really can they do? Okay, and especially as a parent, if you're a parent and you know that the kid can't even pick up his shorts and put them in the hamper, are they really going to be able to write a paragraph in Spanish all on their own? No, they're not. Okay, and it's okay. So bring them through the whole thing. Bring them through the whole process. And then think about their age. Think about what's going on. They've got 7 or 8 classes, right? And right now, especially online, and don't give them too much to do. I mean, I have my college students right now just sending me a little paragraph through an email. Okay, why in an email? Because I don't want to have to download something and print it out. I'm making it easier for me. And that is my biggest advice to you. Make this easy for you, especially now during coronavirus times. It's you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Okay, just a little touch in with the language every now and again, and a touch in with you. They like you. I hope they like you. That's what language class should be about. And then you can, and you can fix it later on. Everything else will be fixed later on. I mean, everything else will be fixed later on. And those administrators, and I hope there's some administrators watching, ease up on your teachers, man. This is not easy. I don't have my own kids. The internet is not that great, but I have my own computer, and I can find a separate place for me to do these webinars, which I haven't sweat as much as I thought I would. And so just do as much as you can, or as much as you want, okay? And make it easy for you, make it easy for them. Okay. Advice for someone considering writing their first novel. Okay. Write something. Countless people said, oh, I'm going to write a novel. I'm going to write a novel. I mean, people in English and stuff like that. Write something.
You can edit it later. I mean, just like I would say to the students, if you don't put something down on the on your screen, or you don't put something down on paper, there's nothing to edit. And if you think you have a good story, and I believe this wholeheartedly, if you think you have a good enough story, then chances are good that someone else will think it's a good story too. And who are you to deprive that one other person, at least, we're hoping there's more, who are you to deprive that one other person from that experience of your story? And so do it. Just do it. Just do it. And if you're worried about, oh, well, there's so many novels out there, here's my other bit of advice. I know this is straying from the other topic of writing for novice learners, but there's so many books already. Yes, but they haven't heard it from you. They haven't heard the story that you want to tell. And maybe it's a similar story, but they haven't read it in the way that you want to tell it. Okay. And I know this is not true now during Corona times, but if this were true, there would only be one liquor store in every town. There would only be one nail salon in every town. There is market share for everyone. Write your story. Just do it. Okay. There will never be enough novels, as Virginia says. Okay. The webinar will be on YouTube. Will the documents be available somewhere? The documents, yes. I will send. We'll discuss with Erin, okay? And Erin is she is the brains behind this whole operation. I'm just, I'm the patsy who showed up. I will get it to you, or I will make the slideshow public. I can do that. It's a Google Slide thing. Horrible with the technology. That's about all I've got. If you have any more questions, let's see. Okay, I will put the slideshow and as a link with the video. Okay, fantastic. All right, I thank you for being attentive, even if there was only one of you. Okay, the same is true with a novel. Okay, there was one person who stayed on there the whole time, and it wasn't just Erin. Okay, be well, be good to yourselves, be good to your family, and I mean that in that order as well. And take a lot of pressure off, because really it's just language, man. It's just language, and you're all very, very welcome. And I'll put on the slideshow my my email address and my what do you want? What's the next thing? Oh, my website. There's some free resources there, and that's the only reason why I want you to go there. There's a level, like a late level 1, level 2 novel that's on there for free, and other teachers have added some activities and stuff. So go and check it out if you want. It's an interactive thing. I wrote it in 48 hours. It's not my best story, but it did the trick, and I'm really so happy to give it to you guys for free, because it was really fun to do. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so thank you for coming. Erin, what do I do now? Give me a little thing in the chat. Thank you, Lysandra.
Thank you all. See you later.
Okay.